Blake, how do you feel?
I feel fantastic
Do you
and
feel
happy
loose?
to be here.
To be back on the high five. This is our first podcast since, I think, beginning of March, end of February. I think it was end of February, actually. It's been a long time. I'm actually a little bit more nervous. This is probably one of the more nervous podcasts I've done, just because it's been so long since I've been up here in the nonsense before all the quarantines and pandemics and craziness hit. How's your quarantine been? How's your pandemic been? COVID
I
season.
think it's gotten better through each day. Day
Yeah.
by day. The first few weeks, month, then 2 months. You do like this weird like countdown. Did you do like any countdown? Like it was like, wow, I haven't been to the gym. Like for me, I haven't been to the gym for
the gym thing
2
was
weeks,
big.
2 months. And then of course like, like I tried to look at the positives like, but you've been doing bodyweight workouts and running outside and whatnot.
Yeah.
So like I tried to
Yeah.
like counteract the negative of not doing it with a positive.
Yeah.
And I think I tried to do that with pretty much everything in the quarantine life of things. Like
Yeah.
now I guess it just feels normal. You know?
Yeah, no, the gyms are back open now, and I actually have been going to the gym, which some people are like, that's insane, that's
Yeah,
crazy. That's
Yeah, dude, I got a funny story about that. My sister, to my dad, like, we in the cities, the rest of my family lives in the cities in White Bear Lake, where I'm from, and my sister goes to my dad, like, well, are you going to go back to the gym? And he's like, no. And she's like, well, what was your excuse before? He was talking about the gym, and she's like, well, what was your excuse before? Like, not going. And he just was like,
Yeah, that's awesome. See, that's the tricky part is there's so many people that have such an easy excuse to not go to the gym now.
Yeah, dude, that's a bummer.
Yeah, that is a bummer. But I don't know, I did the same, like right when the gyms all closed down, I immediately started following like all these like aesthetic guys on YouTube and stuff so I learned all these new like weird exercises. I was like leaning over on the couch working out my shoulders and
Yeah, dude.
doing all these body weight exercises and stuff, which I actually 2 weeks after the quarantine started, I lost 17 pounds in those 2 weeks. Because, Casey, do you remember just before quarantine, I was trying to put weight on? I think I even talked about it on the podcast, maybe. So I was like, I think I actually talked about it with you. I was like eating as much as I possibly could, and I was lifting heavy at the gym. Then quarantine hit, and I was like, well, I can't continue to eat the way that I'm doing because I'm not going to be able to lift heavy because like the gyms are closed, so I'm just going to get chubby. So then I was like, I got to completely flip and switch. So I started only eating two meals a day, and I ate super clean because none of the restaurants were open. So I literally dropped 17 pounds in 2 weeks. It was absolutely insane. The first time I saw my parents after quarantine, my mom was like, oh my God. She's like, what happened to you? There's like nothing there. I was like, yeah, I know.
Did you lock yourself in your closet?
Yeah, exactly. It's like I've just been eating bird food since this all went down. I don't know. It's been weird. And so I brought Blake on specifically because he's a nutrition expert as well as a physical fitness expert. So you don't hear a lot of talk about how to get ahead of the virus in terms of like strengthening your immune system, just making yourself into all-around healthier person. So I think that's kind of what we're going to talk a little bit about today.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into it. I was trying to think of like some silly question to ask to kind of like, before we jump into the serious nutrition stuff, kind of loosen ourselves up a little bit. So
An icebreaker.
I literally, from the time we started the podcast until now, I thought about this question. It's a little strange, but we're gonna give it a shot. All right. So if you had to choose one animal on the planet to marry and spend the rest of your life with, which animal would that be?
Oh, man.
And I mean, it's weird for obvious reasons.
Animal.
But Casey, would you have an answer? Just quick off the top of your head.
Does a human count as an animal?
No.
A non-human
A
animal.
non-human
Oh,
animal, yeah.
okay.
I mean, obviously, everybody hopefully would choose a human then.
Well, so I'm trying to think of like how because you can't really choose a fish because like that thing can like go off for like days and you'd be like, dude, I'm like left here on this island. Like if you get like befriended like a dolphin and
So
it like brought you to like a desolate island and then just left
Yeah.
you for a while.
That's
you'd
a good
be like,
point.
dog, like where'd you go, man?
Yep. So you're worried about the commitment
So-
issues with the dolphin.
Yeah, the commitment issues. Yeah.
Goes away for
Same
2
thing
weeks.
with the bird. I can't fly.
Comes back smelling like a like a sea lion, and you're like, what? Where have you been? You smell like a sea lion. I'm worried. Let's see. I don't
Did
know.
you have an answer?
I
when
don't
you were
have it.
thinking
I
about
literally
this?
just thought about this question. And like I said, tried to think of something weird. Maybe this is too weird. I don't know. But I think that I would probably choose like an orangutan, some kind of monkey, because that's close to.
That's fair.
That's like close to a person. And I think you could at least train it to do a lot of the things that a wife would do, which some people are gonna just think that's dirty and nasty. That's not
No.
what I'm going with it.
No,
I'm just
yeah,
saying they
makes
could.
sense,
I
though.
bet you could train them to like do the dishes, mow the lawn, probably babysit people.
Hey,
Um,
that's actually really a good
maybe
logic there.
even-
I like that.
Do your taxes eventually. I don't know.
I like that. And then also, so my thing, I'm just gonna go straight with like a predator and just like choose like a lion because that thing can like get meat for me. You know what I mean? Like that's my biggest
actually, I
thing. Is I'm
that.
like,
And then we assume that it doesn't eat you.
yes.
also.
So that was my thing. Is it's
Yeah.
kind of cool to have like something that could just take you out of the game as well as provide for you because I think I
That's
can
a
cover
really
the
good
other
answer,
bases.
actually.
You know
I'm
what
a
I
little
mean?
bummed about my answer now. That's
I
pretty.
like your answer, though.
It's okay, but it kind of just weirded me out.
I
now.
think I'm just looking strictly from a predator standpoint of you get
Yeah.
me food and protect me, and I got all the other things.
Yeah.
I'll like figure out how to do like the whole housing situation.
Right, you'll be
and
the
take care of
stay-at-home
all their
dad, and
things.
the lioness will go out and gather all of the food, everything. How much does a lioness weigh? Like at top weight? Do you think like 200 pounds?
Dude,
Is that what it is?
That's
probably?
the other thing is
It
they
would be-
scary.
you'd
being
be Lil Spoon
around
for
with
sure
a
at night.
big cat. That's my biggest thing.
Yeah,
mean,
they'd be
like-
great cuddlers, I bet. Actually.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah,
Yeah.
just got to get around the claws. You got to figure that out. Like,
Oh
like-
yeah,
like
maybe
getting
have her
scratched
deep
up.
clawed. That would be a sensitive conversation. You just be like, honey, can I meet you in the kitchen? We got to talk about something.
You're gonna wear these gloves.
I got these
for
scars
bedtime.
all over my back. Everyone's making fun of me at work. I was like, can we get you declawed? You don't even have to climb trees anymore. We got a house.
I like that though. That's a good question.
Okay, sweet. You're cool. Well, now that we got that out of the way, and I feel like that's maybe loosened up our our
Deep
creative
thoughts and-
juices and all of that. Yeah. So again, we're talking about nutrition, physical fitness, things that can help us build our immune system. What's one small change that we can make to our day to increase our immune system? Just a small thing everybody can do.
So I think walking. I think walking is probably the biggest thing that you can do for your immune system. So on levels of like, respiratory fitness, obviously like breathing, especially with like the coronavirus and like the
Yeah.
fact that it attacks your respiratory system.
Right.
I think that's probably like your key player in the prevention, we'll say.
Yeah.
So walking, I would say, is probably like, the easiest form for the majority of people. Now, like, some people obviously might need to transfer that into biking if they have impact issues with the way that like the walking could, do on joints because it is impact.
Yeah.
Even in small impacts, not like running. But I think walking is kind of like one of those simple things where you don't have to think about it. You just kind of
Right.
go out and do it, which is
Yeah.
like as a personal trainer, like a lot of people come to me just for the programming. So that's one of the hardest parts I think for people is to like figure out what do I do. With walking, it's like, all right, you go to the beach, you
Just
go
go
to
walk.
a trail, you go to
Yeah.
the sidewalk. All three of those are going to give you a different workout, different calorie burns. Obviously, the sand and the trail are going to give you a little bit higher because you're working harder. So I kind of was thinking of things like to at least talk about like with that, and the basic things that I kind of was like looking at in some of like the research was like obesity, smoking, drinking, obviously like your bad nutrition habits like fast food, things like that. Those are all the ones that are gonna like be bad for your immune system.
Yeah.
So I think walking can actually kind of like negate some of those things to some degree.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you're breathing out. You're, for like smoking
But
purposes.
just because you went on a half-mile walk doesn't mean you can then come home, crush a bunch of tater tots, and drink half a bottle of wine or an entire bottle of wine.
This
I
is
think
true.
that's the dangerous thing with some of these things is
Yeah.
like for example, those 30 days in October or something like that last year that I didn't drink any
Dude,
alcohol.
yeah, you
Because of
and
that I was like,
Alex.
oh, I'm saving all this money. So then I was like, I'm saving all this money. So now I like it was easier for me to go to the store and then like buy clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I actually ended up spending more money because I was like using that excuse so often. So like,
Dude, isn't that funny how like you reduce your spending somewhere and you're like, I'm gonna save so much
Yeah,
money, and
you-
then all of a sudden you're like, what the heck?
yeah, you see like
You're
your
looking
bill
at-
statements at the end of the month and you're like, what? I spent more money. This is insane. So walking, if you're not walking,
Yeah.
biking, but no e-bikes though. I don't like the.
Dude, I know
the
those
e-bikes
are so.
are like, dude, just use your body. I don't know. And I
seems like
get you're
cheating.
still pedaling, but you're hardly pedaling. I mean,
It does seem like cheating to
It
me.
does.
I
I
get
s-
that with the hills probably around here, but still.
yeah, I see him on the mountain bike trails all the time, and I don't want to discourage people from getting out on the trails. And they always look super happy, and they're waving at me, and I of course wave back. But in my head, I'm always like, dude, freaking grow up. Like, use your legs. And it's just, it seems like the people on the e-bikes are never really in that great a shape. So I'm like, just use the bike. I mean, the e-bikes are.
And I mean,
they're
the
cute.
thing with that is like start small. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Like
they-
if that is your limitation, start small and like do something that is doable first before you ride those. For people like you that are hitting the trails with some intensity to like
Yeah.
have that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Start
you'll
on the,
get
the
there.
paved trails. Boom. Paved trail every day. It doesn't take long to build up your cardiovascular stuff. That's
Right.
what I've seen with biking is like I can go if I go like 2 weeks without biking, I am just like I'll walk up a flight of stairs and be like, oh my god, what's happening? And then it takes like 3 days of consistent mountain biking, and then I'm like my cardio is like back, just
Yeah.
like that. You're like back in it, so it
Yeah.
doesn't take that long.
Yeah, I always tell people like one of my biggest things is it takes the body longer to build up than to break down. And when you do break down, it breaks down fast. So like just because you know, I think with people too is like they do one thing and then the next few days they're like all thrown off and it's like that was just one day.
Yeah.
But then once you let it landslide into
Oh,
3
yeah.
or a week, now
Yep.
you've like really done damage to some
Yeah.
degree. I mean, you can
Right.
recover from this, but like it's like, you know, one day is 24 hours that you missed out on doing your good habits. Don't let it go into 36, 72.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it just can compile, and that's where like the exponential effect happens, I think. And
Right.
the other thing too with like, you know, like exactly like what you said with your endurance is once you have a level, even if you drop down from not doing it, you already had that level. So it's like I look at it as like a pathway that you built. So like, and that goes for muscle building too. Like if I, like when I have 100 pounds of muscle, and I lose, you know, a few pounds of muscle, then that 100 pounds is way easier to get the first time, or the second time than it is the first time.
That's true.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you have that pathway set, and it's like it's not a new experience. I always
Right.
like with weight training and like training like new people to it, and once they get to like, you know, like 95 pounds on their bench or 100 pounds and they've never done that before.
Yeah.
Like after that, it's like you go back to that and you look at, like I try and tell them like, dude, you're warming up at 95 now. Like I train
Right.
a couple kids that are like 14 to 16.
Yeah.
And like I'm like, dude, you started off warming up at like 75 pounds. Now you're at 95.
Yeah.
Like
That's
that's a
big.
big
Yeah.
significant increase.
Yep.
And so yeah, I try and make people look at that thing too.
Yeah. So you just said something like the least that you could do is just go for a little walk.
Yep.
If you wanted to be a maniac and you're like, I'm not. If coronavirus touches me, it's not gonna even phase me at all. What would be like the most you could do to build your immune system? Things you could be doing every single day.
Yeah, so that goes on so many levels. I think, I mean, obviously your baseline levels of things is just like getting your, you know, all of your variety of macronutrients in. I was kind of looking back at my nutrition certification, and one that's going to come up with your immune support is going to be like zinc, vitamin D, Obviously some of your antioxidants, vitamins like A, C, and E that remove inflammation. Just because the more like inflamed that you have like your body, the more that it's gonna be trying to put its resources out to getting you less inflamed.
Yeah.
Which is gonna in turn, obviously your immune system is probably fine already, so it's gonna kind of take away from building that up.
Right. I've
So-
started taking fish oil since quarantine started because someone said that'd be good for inflammation and things like that. So that's a good move, you think?
Yeah, I think
But
so.
then
Especially
I always burp up. I literally burp up fish.
and it tastes like it too.
It tastes
I used
exactly
to
like
take fish
fish.
oil. I don't take multivitamins or fish oils, but like I try to make sure I get like a fish in, like at the consuming fish.
Every
and they
day?
say no, they say a couple times a week. Like 3 times a week.
Yeah, like some
so that would
salmon?
be like if you bought like a like a pound salmon and you cut it into like thirds, or depending on obviously your side there, I'm like more of like the eating like a
An
third of
entire
a pound.
pound? Oh, okay.
but yeah, you kind of obviously everybody's serving size is gonna be a little bit different. But I always think like your fitness and nutrition, and then obviously adding in your supplementation. But your supplements only are as strong as your basic nutrition there. So
That's fair.
in your case, you're probably not eating a lot of fish then to some degree.
I literally eat the exact same thing every single day for every meal, and it's either steak and rice or chicken and rice.
Right.
Sometimes I'll do shrimp and rice. Otherwise, it's the exact same thing.
Exactly. So
every
yeah,
single
your shrimp
day.
would be the part of the fish. So you're doing that in place of obviously the fish protein as part of it. So that's where like in Casey's example,
Casey,
where
can you eat fish?
No, but I do flax seeds for my omega-3s.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Exactly.
You eat them?
I put them in my smoothies.
Oh, nice.
Do you do hemp hearts by chance?
No, I've never tried
Dude.
that.
Hemp hearts?
Hemp hearts.
What do they look like?
Honestly, it just looks like if you took like a weed seed and grounded it up.
Okay.
That's kind of
so
what it
it's
looks like.
It's ground up.
Yes. Yep. And it.
What do you do with it? Do you snort it?
No, so what I do is
Yeah, you smoke it?
No, what I do is I throw it in my yogurt on top, like kind of like you
Oh,
would
okay.
like a flax
That
seed.
makes more
You could
sense.
put it in cereals or put it on salads. It's exactly very similar to a flax seed, but I believe the macros on it are going to be better than flaxseed. The only thing is that it's probably higher in fats.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah. And he
You can
probably.
use that too, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's got a lot of protein in it actually. So like 3 tablespoons is a serving size, which is 30 grams. It looks like a lot when you put it on there.
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it
30 grams of protein?
no. 30 grams of like the actual stuff, or like the actual hemp
Oh,
parts.
okay.
I have a food scale, so I weigh out them.
Yeah.
But it says 3 tablespoons or 30 grams.
Yeah.
And then it's 10 grams of protein
Oh,
per
wow.
that.
Nice.
So I know it's
That's a lot.
actually a lot. It's significant.
And you get your omega-3s?
And you get your omega-3s in there.
Holy
Yep.
moly.
Where do you
and-
get them from?
I get them from
Weed
Cub.
dealer?
Okay.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, the
I'm
guy,
assuming
that,
they're
the
not
guy in the
THC.
back alley.
I'm assuming that
Oh,
Whole
okay.
Foods would have them, but I've looked at Super One. I can't find them there.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
but yeah, hemp parts. They're
Yeah,
in
I'm
like
assuming
the.
Whole
Have them.
What's
I'm
that?
guessing like the co-op.
Yeah, I'm guessing the co-op would have them. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've done. So what I was putting on my yogurt was that, some flax meal, the ground up of the flax seeds, and then what else was in there? Honey, and some pumpkin seeds. So that was a pretty high fat. That's one of my bulking.
Yeah.
That's one of my bulking for my yogurts. But obviously, you could, in respect, you could cut down some of them, even if you only had, like a tablespoon and a half of those hemp parts. It's going to be 5 grams of protein, which is still significant when you're adding in, yogurt,
Yeah.
yogurt and things like that. I mean, you're basically because you're vegetarian.
Vegan, yeah.
Vegan? Okay, so you're the whole. Okay, that's the
So
whole.
you can't
thing.
eat eggs either, right?
No,
Egg
he's,
whites, not
he's
even egg
no
whites?
animal.
Yeah.
So
What
so
if it died of natural causes?
Oh, we've gone through this.
Have we really?
I feel like we have.
Maybe we have. I don't know. It's been so long. I don't know.
I feel like we've gone through
We've been
every
cooped up.
scenario.
We've been in a pandemic. I feel like my mind's been wiped clean.
So
I'm just saying, like, what if one cow jumped in front of a moving train to save another cow's life, and it was a selfless act?
That's like
And his
eating-
last dying wish
why
was
would
like,
you eat roadkill?
Well, but he was. Yeah, you're right.
Would you eat
It was a
deer you ran over?
selfless act.
No, I don't think I would, but it was a clean car. We could have, let's say it was a clean, no, it just went through the car
Just
wash.
got car wash.
Yeah, on the way out of the car wash, hit this selfless cow, and then we noticed on a note before he had died that his last wish was to be eaten by humans.
Oh, then of course you have to eat it then to honor the deer.
Okay, good. Nice. That was really a stretch. Okay, so wait, so you do these hemp hearts every day?
No,
Once a week.
Well, no. I was
Once a
doing
month.
them like kind of where it fits in. So like I've got routines with like some of those things where it like boosts me up in calories, like for say like usually on like cardio day where I burn a lot of calories. Then I need those extra fats in there because I mean with the fats it's pretty high calorie.
Yeah. So do you eat more on cardio days? Because I've seen people
yes.
say that on cardio days you should eat a lot less because you'll lose a lot of fat.
Well, yeah,
body
and that's yeah. So there's two camps on that. So if you're trying for weight loss, then you won't necessarily be putting back all those calories in. But like me, I'm trying to still stay bulking while run 8 miles, which is not an easy task because I burn like 800 calories or more, and then I got to eat another extra 1,000 calories or whatever to stay above.
Okay.
So that's where I eat like that yogurt, like I was talking about, with all that stuff in there. That's like 600 calories with all that.
Wow.
And now certainly you could do halves of those things. I'm eating a huge amount of those things to get that many calories.
Okay.
But
And then you mix in one of those cookies that we were talking about
dude,
last
the
time.
Larry and Lenny's, bro, I've gotten off those a little bit.
I'm so on them still. It's insane. I'm so on them.
Dude, it's so great for bulking.
I
man.
can't eat the peanut butter ones though. I figured out because they make me really gassy. Like it's bad. I couldn't eat it. I thought I was lactose intolerant. I bought like a group, like 5 of them at the grocery store one day. I'm like, this is sweet. I'll just keep them in my room and then I'll just grab one when I need it. So I was like eating it consistently and they were all peanut butter. And then I was just like, I had like some milk or something, which I never drink milk, but I had like some milk and then I would just like I was just farting nonstop. It was just a train wreck. And I was like, I think I'm lactose intolerant. I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, something's wrong with me. I was like, I can't even show houses right now because I can't go more than 5 minutes without. So anyway, yeah, I love the cookies. The peanut butter ones I can't touch though. Apparently, my body's like, no.
That's funny, dude. I feel like people have like definite really digestive responses to different things.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
And sometimes you don't even know like what ingredient it is until you like have something that has like that ingredient in it in another source of it, and you eat it and you're like, God dang, I feel terrible.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's or the other thing is timing of things. I've noticed like if I try to drink like a really high power protein shake late at night, it like a mass gainer with carbs in it.
Yeah.
I lay down and I feel like I have a brick in my stomach.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I literally like there was one night I remember like it was like the second time I think I did it, I was like, I need like help. I need somebody to like cuddle me and like help me get this through my system and like
talk to my stomach.
Yeah.
talk them out.
like tell me I'm gonna be okay because I feel like I'm dying and I feel like my body is trying to digest a brick right now.
Yeah.
So
What about on the what about on the physical side? Just cardio is the biggest thing you think to combat?
No, because like I think too you need to put like a stress or stimulus on your body that you're not used to doing. Just like like a vaccine is putting into your body like something that you don't yet have to protect yourself from.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's the same thing with like weightlifting and versus cardio. So somebody who does a lot of cardio, they're gonna want to do weightlifting. Somebody who does a lot of weightlifting is gonna want to do cardio.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of overall protecting yourself and like putting a different stress on your body. Yes, I would definitely suggest doing both. The other thing with that is like, with the whole, they say like, obesity or like being overweight will reduce your immune system because your body is working harder with your cardiovascular system and other systems. So again, kind of like what I said earlier with like your body is now trying to focus on your survival versus strengthen your immune system. So if you can do something that you're inefficient at, like weightlifting, if you don't do it, you're going to burn more calories, which is going to help you, lower your body fat and then strengthen your immune system that way.
Right.
I think all these things kind of even like the nutrition piece. I think all these things kind of like play this like factor in like giving your body something that it needs to like assist yourself to make you overall stronger, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
like a lot of like I was looking at like a lot of vitamins and minerals play a role in like your metabolism, and obviously if your metabolism is in peak shape, you're going to be like, you know, getting things through and utilizing your energies correctly so that your body is running in a smooth way,
Yeah.
so that it can you know, focus on some of the, I think like your immune system's probably like one of those things that it like is hard to like strengthen, so to say, or like build.
Yeah.
Because, you know, your body is like, dude, you got this, like, we got to keep your heart going. We got to keep like all the other, you know, large levels of the function of the body going. You
So
know?
you're not necessarily strengthening your immune system. You're just making it easier for it to function. Is that kind of the way to look at it? Or
Kind of, yeah.
am
I would
totally
say
off?
so. I would say
Okay.
so. You're putting in the stuff that makes it run so that it can get out bad stuff out of your body, I would say.
All right, got it. Was there anything that you changed, like right when this whole virus hit, where you're like, all right, I got to start doing this? Or were you already peak physical fitness?
Well, I think the main thing was like routines, you know what I mean? Like putting in place
Yeah.
your routine of like, okay, I don't have this anymore. What do I do about that side of things? So for me, it was obviously like the workouts. How do I work out again, you know?
Yep.
Luckily, I have like a TRX and like just really tried to focus on body weight and show people like, hey, like I don't have access to equipment either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, I have to think of, you know, do it the way that you're doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
I had a
I
duffel
might
bag
have a
full
little
of
bit
books.
of, you know, I might have a little bit of advantage with like, you know, leverage with the dumbbells, and you know, I've had like some 15s.
Yeah.
But I mean, like that's not like a 200-pound bench. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Dumbbells were impossible to find.
dude, they still are,
Afterwards.
man.
I believe
have
it.
clients that are looking for them, and they like, I know. Okay, and then the other thing is so I know Play It Again got like a shipment in, but
Yeah.
they're charging like $2 or something per pound, which
Oh my,
normally
$2 per pound?
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Which
no.
normally is like, you know, if you get used weights, you can probably do like 50 to 80 cents per pound, or even like depending on the weight, maybe even like 80 cents per pound. But
Yeah.
you know, a pretty good dumbbell is gonna probably be like $1 per pound.
Yeah.
So like
Price is
they're just
double.
freaking like height price gouging people, like
Yeah.
yeah.
I filled up
So-
a duffel bag with books. That was I
Yeah,
couldn't
dude.
find, so I just filled up a duffel bag with books, and I guessed it was probably between 40 and 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Somewhere, something like that.
You know what would be even better than that, which is like something that like most people probably wouldn't even think of, would be go down to Park Point or to a beach, have like gallon-sized baggies,
Yeah.
and put sand in. And the
Oh,
reason
yeah.
why that would be the best thing you can do for weights is because if you have too much, say you just get like a bucket and like pour it in, and
Yeah.
you have too much weight, and you can literally just pour it out,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
have a changed weight versus like
Yeah,
books.
I
mean,
would
a
take
similar,
out like I would put as much in as I possibly could, and then I would put it on my back, and I would do like squats for high reps
Yep.
in that way to do the legs. But then like I would do like side lateral raises.
Yep.
That's where I would like take some books
Yeah,
out of there and
yeah.
stuff. So I was adjusting the weight a little bit, but it was weird. I don't know.
This weight is $2.
Yeah, exactly. I was like guessing. I was probably way off. I was definitely adding weight too. I'm like, this is probably 50 pounds. Meanwhile, it's probably 15. I was like, wow, I got so much stronger.
But yeah, that, and like you kind of touched on that. So like your strength training, especially like, you know, like outside the box, if you don't still have, you know, access to things, would be slowing down your reps. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I always use the example of like if you want to make a body weight squat hard, instead of going down and up for a 2-second rep, so 1 second down, 1 second up, go down for 3, go up for 3. That's a 6-second rep.
Yeah.
If you do 10 of those, you have 60 seconds of tension.
Yeah.
Versus if you do 10 reps of your, you know, 2-second rep, you got 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So you got triple the tension on your
Body
muscles.
weight reps, because they can jack you up. They're not very intimidating going into them. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like there's no weight. But then like I was doing like side to side jumps, and I would
Yep.
I would do sets of 20, and I think I would do 4 sets of 20 of those. And by the third set, I was like, oh my god, my legs were on fire. It was I was like, this is a joke. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna get any.
I actually
exercise.
think body weight stuff is harder on your mental, like endurance or whatever mental strength than like weightlifting, because like you can look at the weight and be motivated, like I'm gonna get this, like I'm gonna you
Yeah.
have something physical to like,
I like
be
that.
mad
I
at.
talk shit to the weights. I'm like,
Yeah,
you ain't shit weights.
but with body weight,
I
it's
ain't
like,
scared of
dude,
you.
I should be able to do myself. Like it has this weird like mental shift that you're just like, dang man, like this hurts, you know? How do I
Yeah.
get through this? Like this is me. I carry me around all day long. How do
Oh,
I
right.
get
This
through
should be
you know?
nothing, but it adds up. Casey, did you start doing anything different when quarantine hit?
Yeah, I started working out from home too, and I never worked out at all beforehand.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I got this whole free time. I'm
I
not.
may as well start doing something.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm gonna get weird by the end of quarantine.
Nice.
And I did the TRX straps.
Yeah.
But they're homemade TRX straps.
Yep.
And like,
What is
made
it?
them out of an Eno straps, PVC pipe for the handle,
Oh,
okay.
jeez.
like paracord like around the PVC pipe that connects to the Eno strap.
Oh, yeah.
And then carabiners. My roommates are climbers, so they had carabiners.
Nice.
Kind of wrap it around a tree.
Yep.
Holy
Yep.
cow.
do it, yeah.
That's legit.
And then I made a pull-up bar out of a broomstick, paracord, and 2 nails.
Nice. That's
That's
impressive.
But then the pull-up bar broke on me.
Oh no.
I had for the longest time, I had the biggest bruise right
Yeah,
there.
you could
You
see
still
some
can
of
see
that,
it,
dude.
yeah.
Dude,
Holy
this
cow.
whole arm was black.
Oh,
That's funny, but also painful.
You know, it's a funny story. You can laugh at that.
Yeah, okay, nice. Oh, that's insane.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's been weird. Do you feel like you have trouble hanging on to your sanity recently, or are you just totally fine?
At first I was like, I felt like I would just be like, I'm fine, and then just be like, what the heck is going on, and just like lose my shit and be like, whoa, you know.
Yeah.
But now I think like, now I'm kind of like, oh, that's different, but I'm gonna accept it for what it is for now, and just
Yeah.
kind of like think about like how to overcome it rather than be like resist it.
Right.
And I wouldn't say I'm like just accepting it and being like, oh, this is the way it is, but I'm just kind of like analyzing it, I guess I would say, and being like, how would we change this
Right.
since it makes me uncomfortable and I want to do something else? You know what I mean? Like, how
Yeah.
do I make my sanity feel comfortable again with this situation?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the worst for me too probably was right at the beginning, because it was just everything changed like immediately, and we didn't know where things were gonna go with the economy. I guess we still don't really know where things are gonna go with the economy and all of this. But then things sort of went back closer to normal, and it was fine. But I feel like I'm starting to like there's just so much going on right now, like with the election, like everything that's going on, and the pandemic and quarantine and this and everything. I'm just ready for things to go back to normal. I feel like it's starting to weigh on me, and I just need to. I don't know. It's exhausting. This is all so exhausting. I'm excited for the end of 2020.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that. I don't want to.
I look at it as my big thing, like I just keep saying to myself, is like 2020, the year of change. Like the more like everything is different, and I feel like I look at it, I try and like say it that way rather than like, yeah, all this stuff was like changed, and oh, you got to do this now instead of that. I just look at it as like, oh, you got to do this now, and like this is like a learning experience to like figure out like how things moving forward can like go from one thing to like the complete opposite spectrum of things. And then there might not even be like knowledge on it, like, you know what I mean, like we're kind of talking about like your preventative measures for like COVID. Like nobody talks about that.
No,
you know what I mean, like they're just like,
Yeah.
this is what you do if you get it, this is how you stay away from it and stay away from other people and like prevent protect other people, we'll say.
Right.
But like as far as like protecting yourself besides protecting others, which protects you to some degree,
Yeah.
I mean, like there's not a whole lot of
No, there's like no
information
talk
on
about it.
that.
I listen to Joe Rogan constantly because he's the man.
Yeah, dude,
He's
seriously.
literally the Christ, I think. He talks about that all the time. He's like nobody's ever talking about it. It's just like I think he's like he says it's kind of a sensitive subject in some ways, because like telling somebody that what they do is unhealthy and that they themselves are unhealthy is like a very sensitive thing to say, especially when you start getting on the topic of like body weight and things like that.
Yep.
It's like people don't want to talk about it, and they don't want to say you're overweight. You need to change that because yeah, it's a hairy situation. But I mean, the truth is, you shouldn't be overweight because it's not as good for your body.
Yes. Yep. And I think this maybe is just kind of like a thing where it's like you shouldn't be afraid of change and maybe to like ask for help, or don't be afraid to like change up what you're doing. Obviously,
Yeah.
if you're talking like exercise and nutrition, you probably should consult a professional, whether it's a registered dietitian, a personal trainer, your doctor first, maybe. If it's going to be a drastic change, like physically, and you are overweight or have medications, things like that. But I think it's to almost like to not be afraid of it, maybe.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what I
that's
mean?
it too.
And like I think that's kind of like the thing I guess I'm learning is like all these things like to be fearful of, and it's like, well, you still got to live.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like you still like gotta go on and like for you show houses with random people that
yeah.
you
That's-
don't know. Like
I mean, like I was saying before, there was like a couple of weeks in April when I wasn't really showing many houses, but once May hit, like I was showing several houses every single day, like meeting with new people every day, and it's like, well, I gotta make a living. Like I gotta live. I mean, I get that there's a virus out there right now, but eesh.
yeah. So
But I think that there's almost kind of like an embarrassment though too that comes with like making a change, like starting to eat healthy
Yep.
or starting to exercise. There's like you decide to start going into the gym, and then you're in there and you maybe feel like you don't know what you're doing, and you feel
Mhm.
like everybody's looking at you, and you're maybe embarrassed of the way you look, and everybody around you in
Mhm.
the gym is in shape. And so I mean, I know that was the case for me when I first started going into the gym. I was like super self-conscious of like the amount of weight that I was doing.
Yeah.
And I looked at everybody else and I'm like, how is this kid's lifting more than I am, and I'm way older than him. It's just like but it's just like you kind of got to get over that. I think
Yeah.
almost like everybody in the gym, nobody's ever judging anybody in
Yeah,
the gym.
no,
And
I
that's
think-
at least the way that I see it.
I
If I
think-
see a heavier person like on the treadmill, I'm like, hell yeah, you go get it.
yeah, I think
love that.
actually that's one of the things that people I think that people think they're watching them, but I think most people, since they're there to work on themselves,
Oh,
obviously
yeah.
there's always the people that are trying to draw attention to themselves. But I don't think those people are out there like looking to be like, yeah, that guy on the treadmill over there that's overweight or whatever. I think they usually probably try and ignore those people and try and like get the have like the younger kids watching them and show off to them like, yeah, look at my muscles or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't think they like notice the other people that are
No,
like the
I
scared
think it's like a
people to
safe.
some
I
degree.
think it's a safe zone.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the things I've been focusing on with my clients is like I've been telling them, and it's been going pretty well, is like you're supposed to be uncomfortable in this. You think that's part of that feeling that you're describing is like you're uncomfortable because you're doing something that you're not used to doing, and it's like kind of like a fear. And like that's kind of where like there's other people around you and you're uncomfortable and like you feel like you're being watched or whatever. And
Oh, yeah.
ultimately at the end of the day, what anybody else in there thinks doesn't matter. And as long as you're working on yourself, I think that's like the main thing.
Yeah.
And I think you need to be uncomfortable when you're working out, because otherwise you're probably going to be doing some of the same things, which isn't going to lead you to that weight loss. Like I think
Right.
one of the big things for people is if you're not uncomfortable in your workout, like physically, you're probably staying in your comfort zone probably a little bit too much, and that's where you're gonna notice a plateau. You'll probably still see some results, but you're gonna notice a plateau. I think the similar thing might be for like nutrition as well. I know for myself, like going to the grocery store the first few times, and like I've been experimenting with like a more plant-based diet just based off of all the stuff out
Casey?
there.
You like to hear that kind of thing?
Yeah, and
Are you eating right now? What are you eating? Are you eating
Well,
plants?
I'm-
You're
I'm
over there
functional.
grazing?
I-
Oh, okay.
I can tell I have my headphones on.
Nice. All right, sorry.
And so I think like what you're describing the gym, I kind of had with like buying tofu or like going and grabbing
Yeah.
some of that
You're like-
stuff. Oh yeah, dude,
Hell
dude,
yeah.
tofu's so
Yeah,
good.
if you make it right. It's fine.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know
You
how
gotta
you can
walk
make
in
it
and
wrong.
act like
Okay.
you've bought tofu before.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, so
I know
like,
what I'm
and then
looking
of
for.
course, like you're like checking out, and like when they scan it, I'm like thinking like, what do they think about this like guy? Like
Yeah.
young guy like buying tofu,
Buying tofu.
I mean, but.
We're not thinking anything.
I know that's
Right.
it.
See,
we're
that's the
so
thing.
self-conscious.
The
as
thing, and
humans.
it comes back to like being uncomfortable in the gym, being uncomfortable with like trying new foods. You know what I mean? Like, what's
Yeah.
the worst thing that's gonna happen besides? I mean, okay, there's a lot of bad things that could happen with trying new food. Like, you could have a reaction if you're not careful, like digestively or whatever.
Yeah, or you get gas.
Yeah,
like I did. Bad gas.
But I think part of that too is like figuring out how much of a food your body can handle, or you should eat, what types of foods. Like obviously, like tofu is a soy product, so
I've
if you
never
don't
had
handle
tofu.
if you don't handle soy products very well, then you probably shouldn't eat tofu. Like, so I know I don't handle soy milk very well, but almond milk is like kind of the thing that I really enjoy.
Yeah, I love it.
And then like tofu being a soy product doesn't bother me. So I don't
What
know.
is soy exactly?
Soy is a bean.
Mhm.
And so
Oh.
tofu.
Is that like
edamame,
soy's-
Do you ever get edamame?
I just tried that for the first time.
That's
I think
basically
recently.
soybeans.
Is that like soy sauce? Is that from soy?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So like for tofu, they break it down and take off like the proteins, and it's a whole process that I can't
It looks kinda
necessarily
gross.
explain. So what I've been doing, I don't know like if there's like the technical ways to cook it, but before I was just basically sautéing it on oil
Mhm,
and
that's what I
seasoning it.
do, yep. Mhm.
What do
But
you season it with?
I use a lot of garlic powder in pretty much every meal.
Do you use a specific seasoning? Because I have a difficult time finding seasonings that aren't
You know-
extremely high in sodium.
I
I know that like Flavor God makes some stuff, but
yeah.
it takes so long to order that online, and you can't find anything in the grocery store though. That's
Yeah, I feel that.
not gonna give you a heart attack.
Italian seasoning. Italian seasoning I use quite a bit of.
Okay.
So basically that's like a mix of like herbs
Yeah.
in there.
Everything tastes like spaghetti then though.
That is true. It is, you're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that. But that's one of the things I will do is that sometimes I throw a little bit of seasoning salt on there, but that comes back to your sodium. I don't
Yeah.
worry. I'm gonna be honest. I don't worry too much about sodium with the
Okay,
whole like
cool.
triathlon.
That makes me feel good actually.
Triathlon training stuff like
That
I,
makes me feel good.
I use that as long as you're working out and you're not like eating. I think the biggest thing with the sodium is eating fast food or
Mm.
like eating out a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
certainly like Panera probably has got a lot of sodium with the lunch
Probably.
meats. You know what I
Super
mean?
good, though.
Even though they're like good, quality meats. I mean,
Mm.
you're still gonna be taking in sodium.
Yeah.
Qdoba, Chipotle, my favorites. I mean, Jimmy John's, Herbert's, and Gerber's. All those are like, I'm sure they're seasoned to the max with the sodium.
Oh, for
so
sure.
as long as you're
Yeah.
not making like a couple times a week is not gonna. I don't think is gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Especially if you're working out.
Yeah, that's like when I get done with a long bike ride, I can feel my body literally craving salt. So I usually
Yep.
make like myself a protein shake right after I get done with a big bike ride, and I will literally put salt in the protein
Yeah.
shake and mix it up.
Yeah,
and it's
especially
like,
if you're not drinking like a sports drink.
while you're out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because what the salt does is it retains the water back in. So when you've exerted it out, it'll help you bring it back into your cells.
Interesting. So what happens if you don't exercise and you take in a lot of salt?
You're gonna hold on to that water.
So you're gonna get chubby?
You're
no, is
gonna
that
hold
not
a
how
lot
it
of
works?
water weight.
Okay.
Which your body is 50 to 70% water.
Mm.
So I mean, you need the water. It's just that you'll obviously with holding more
Isn't
water.
it bad
you're
for
gonna
your heart or something like that if you have too
It
much salt?
can. So yep. So what that is it can pull a lot of water and it messes with your blood volume.
Okay.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
interesting. I feel like I'm learning a lot. Casey, are you learning a lot?
I'm learning a lot. I know that I've always known sodium's like bad,
Yeah.
but I never
Yeah.
thought too much about it.
I've never
Yeah.
been. I don't know. I think I've always told myself I'm not worried about salt, but that's just because so many things that I put on my food has a ton of salt in it. Like I love sriracha, and that's got
Yeah.
salt in it. Like
Yeah.
every meal,
Soy
literally
sauce,
every
that's,
meal.
like, all sodium, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
There's a ton of
That's a
sodium
lot.
in that.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I kind of laid off the soy sauce because of all the sodium that was in it. I felt like maybe that was too much. I don't
Well,
know.
see, so I thought about that same thing, and then I started using other sauces. Like if you look at teriyaki sauce,
Yeah.
the sugars, holy cow!
Yeah.
Anybody who uses like obviously you gotta use those sauces like generously, or in moderation.
Right.
But like I was using those. I was like, holy cow, that's a lot of carb calories, especially if you're
Oh,
eating
yeah.
plant-based already. Like you can't like afford to have all that extra sugar in there when you're doing that, because it's gonna throw your carbs way off if you're gonna be eating more of that. So I was like really careful of those. And soy sauce is super low carb. There's not very
Yep.
much carbs in there.
Right.
So you're saving yourself.
Yeah, that's
So
what
it's a scale,
I
you
would
know what I
love
mean?
to be putting barbecue sauce in every single one of my meals, but those the same thing. It's like so high in sugar that I
never thought
I had to
about
do
that.
sriracha. Yeah, it's like
What about- I
you
use
can
a
eat
lot of
clean, but if you drench
Szechuan.
it
I
and
love Szechuan sauce too.
Yeah.
Probably pretty high sodium is my guess.
that's,
Yeah.
is that sugary? I feel like that's sugary, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
that
don't even know what Szechuan sauce is.
yeah, that might be more moderate.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's kind of like a soy, right?
Yeah,
To some
it
degree?
tastes like a soy sauce kind of. but
Yeah.
Spicy.
Yeah, it's kind of like a form of it. Yeah, that's probably lower, better, but it's like the more like those like orange sauce or like, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
those, like you look at
Yep.
the macros
Okay.
on, you're
Yeah.
like, holy shnikes, man, that's
Holy
not good.
shnikes. Yeah, that's awesome. So since the restaurants closed down, like I said, I eat the same thing every day, and my vegetable of choice is a jalapeno, which maybe doesn't count. Because I think it's a vegetable, but it's not probably like the best vegetable that I could have chosen. But because I put a jalapeno literally in every single meal, I recently switched from jalapenos to ghost peppers. Because my tolerance for spicy foods is insane right now. I went to OMC a couple of days ago, and I got the hottest thing on their menu, which is the Nashville chicken hot sandwich.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And they're like, just be careful with this. This is literally the hottest thing that we have on the menu. I'm like, okay. And I ate it, and I wasn't even, my face wasn't red, like nothing.
Wow.
She's like, I've never seen anybody. I'm like, I was like, I eat ghost peppers every day for
Impressive.
every meal.
Dude.
Like I literally put ghost peppers in my meals, and it's spicy. Don't get me wrong, but
Are
I.
you sure you don't have COVID because taste loss?
No,
Well, I was
that might
gonna
be
say,
it,
dude,
yeah.
how's your? Is this too personal? Ask how your digestive system
No, I've already
is,
talked
because
about my
they-
farts and stuff,
they
but
say that.
no, that's what everyone's like. Oh, I bet you're just getting punished in the toilet, but I'm not. Like it's
Yeah.
totally
Huh.
fine. I got a stomach of iron. I'm told I'm like 12.5% Mexican,
You
so I
usually
think.
do want to they have like hot wing contests.
Yeah,
and stuff like
that's
that.
what I went to. I've been to Buffalo Wild Wings since the restaurants started open, and I got blazing wings, and it was spicy, but I mean I was fine.
Wow.
I was
That's intense.
I was living large, so now my dad has a buddy who grows his own peppers, and I think he claims to have like the spiciest peppers on the planet. And I told my dad, I'm like, yeah, my tolerance for spicy foods is going up. He's like, well, I'll talk to my buddy, and he's like, he's gonna give you a pepper, and here's what he wants you to do. He wants you to cut a little sliver off of the pepper, and then quarter that sliver, and then put that on your tongue, and see how you handle it. So I'm really excited to give that. Yeah,
Quarter the
supposedly.
sliver.
And I've tried one of his peppers before, and it flipped me upside down. But that was before I had
That was
this
before
iron
your
gut.
training?
Yeah, that was before my training.
Progressive.
Yeah.
Jalapeno a day
We
to
should
ghost
bring
pepper a
one
day.
on the show.
Oh, we should. Yeah, that's what.
Dude, yes.
To this day, the spiciest thing I've ever had, though. A few years ago, I ordered the world's spiciest chocolate online. I saw like an ad for it, and I'm like, oh, it's chocolate. How spicy can it be? The world's spiciest
Spicy
chocolate. The
and
bar
sweet.
can't be that high. But it's 4 million Scoville units, and like for a frame of reference, a habanero is 300,000 Scoville units, and I think a ghost pepper is like 1 million or something like that. So it's like 4 times hotter than that. It was
How do they even
insane.
measure spice? That's insane.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't really.
that's so weird.
I don't really follow it. Maybe it's not that accurate. All I know is that I ate this, and it was literally like like putting a bunch of hornets in my mouth, or like putting thumbtack. It hurt so bad, and it was a section of like 15 individual pieces. And how they did it, it was like a game where. Maybe it was 16, and half of the pieces were the spicy chocolate, and then the other half were just milk chocolate. So I did
wow.
like a game with like 2 of my friends, and we had to answer these questions. And if they got them wrong, they would have to take a piece, eat it, and then see what happens. Yeah, yeah. So it was funny, but we each had like our own gallon of milk, and I think we each like drank a ton of milk by the end of it because we were like almost throwing up. But that would be a good idea. Bring one of those hot peppers on here and see if it jacks me up. But I don't know. I think I've built something up. I got a Bloody Mary recently too, and there was like this like Latin waitress that was doing it. She even had like an accent. So I was like, if there's anybody to ask to make something spicy, it's gonna be this. This lady's gonna know what she's doing. So I'm like, I'll take a Bloody Mary, and she's like, oh, would you like it spicy? And I was like, listen, I want you to like flip my world upside down, like ruin me. I'm telling you. She's like, okay. I'm like, no, you don't get it. I was like, fuck me up. And so she's like, okay, I'll do it. And she brought it back, and she's like, be careful with this. And I drank the whole thing, and she had like 2 jalapeno peppers dipped in it. So I ate both of those, and she came back, and she's like, how is it? And I mean, I was sweating, but I was like, well, I wish you would have made it a bit spicier for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're crazy. So I'll take anybody on, I think, in the spiciness.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
If you were in charge of this pandemic, what do you think you would do? And maybe this is maybe this is politically a sensitive question. I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so because
But if you were in the position where you had
everybody-
control of America, you'd say, this is what we got to do.
I think you just I mean the question is putting information out there to people. I would just say like honestly, I think you would have to the thing I would do is like require everybody to have like a non-contact thermometer and an oxygen like oximeter.
What is that?
So
Oximeter?
it goes on your finger, and then the top part produces like a light transmission through, and then it'll tell you like your oxygen saturation in your blood.
So
And
if it's-
apparently, if you are, I think it's like below, like in the 90 to 94%, you should like talk to a medical professional.
So you may have COVID if it's that low.
And yeah, right. So that's one of the
Okay.
ways that you would notice that because obviously it affects your respiratory system and your
Yeah.
ability to breathe. So
do
the
you think that would
advantage,
be more accurate than the temperature?
I think you should do them both.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think you should like as a like just preventative health, we'll say emergency plan, just flood the streets with those things.
Yeah.
Like so,
Everybody has their own.
Advantage Printing has them for sale still. I just went and bought it for.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I went and bought it. I just
The
put it as
temperature
an-
thing or the ox?
Both.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
And
you
I
do
was
check
just like,
yourself a
and
lot?
so dude, I do it every day.
Really?
Yeah, dude, I got a whole log. I from like the whole month of August. bro.
Whoa.
Dang.
And it's interesting.
That's
like
impressive.
my temperature has like been between like 98.6 I think is your average.
Mm.
Yeah, 98.6 is your average. And then like I've been in like 97 to 98 like every day.
Yeah.
My oxygen has been like 96 to 98, and I've been trying to like nail down if like I do a lot of cardio
Oh,
if it's
yeah.
less.
Right.
But it seems to kind of just, I don't know. like,
Not really do anything.
Not really change all that much. So,
Yeah. The thermometer thing I always thought was kind of strange because like if you have like a high fever, don't you think that you would feel sick and you probably wouldn't go out in the first place?
Right.
Like, are you trying
Yeah.
to catch people lying about not being sick? Is that kind of like
maybe.
because
yeah.
they're always like, let me take your temperature. I'm like, well, if I'm over 100, like I'm
See,
probably not.
and
Gonna
I think the
be,
thing with
right?
both is you can cheat the thermometer too. I mean, if it's farther away, it's not going to get a good reading.
Yeah, or if you
Yeah,
put
I
some
mean-
ice in your forehead just before.
I don't know. So
Comes in
I
at
work
60 or something like
so
that.
I work at a group home too, and we have to do a temperature before. So I would ride my bike there, and I would be sweating, and I was like, oh, this will be interesting because if
And
I
it
gotta
wouldn't-
bike my butt home,
Yeah.
because I got a fever, like I guess I don't work today.
Oh,
which
nice.
kind of sucked, but would
Yeah,
kind of suck.
you
And
gotta work.
my temperature was the same, like it was fine.
Oh, weird.
So you would think. So I don't exactly know. I don't know how accurate that is.
Yeah.
But that would be one thing that I would probably do. I guess. It's hard to say, man. Like,
Yeah,
what
I don't
else
know.
you can do? Because you can't. Obviously, I'm gonna go to like fitness and nutrition, being like the person I am. But
Right.
like, you can't. It's like you can't. You can bring a horse to water. You can't make him drink. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yeah, you should eat
It's
these
just so
things. but-
strange, and everybody has like, everyone's like, oh, the president didn't do it right, he did it right, this is what they would have done. But it was like, it was a completely new situation, like,
Yeah.
to everybody. Nobody knew how to handle it. Even like the WHO, it feels like they didn't really know how to handle it, and they kept like changing things. And you're like, okay, so is it transferred on surfaces? No,
Yep.
it's not. Yes, it is.
Right.
No, it's not. Masks help. Don't buy a mask. They don't even help.
Yeah.
So it was like, it just felt like everything was going back and forth, and I still feel like I don't really know like what
Yeah,
is
what
going
does
on.
and
I
what
guess
doesn't.
I'm more apt to wear a mask now just because I don't know, I want things to go back to normal, and I
Yeah.
feel like that
Yeah.
is maybe a
Plus,
way to,
it makes other people
I
feel
don't know.
safe.
It makes other people feel safe.
That's,
yeah.
I mean,
I don't like wearing them though.
No,
I really
it-
don't like wearing them. I get uncomfortable. I feel like I'm breathing heavy when
Yeah.
I do it. I'm not getting enough air.
yeah, it's definitely constrictive, and I also feel like I can't be myself. You know
I
what I mean?
know.
Like I feel like I'm hidden or something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm like people can't like
I'm
tell
also a
me.
little bit worried. I was talking to a chiropractor friend of mine, and he was like, honestly, I kind of try not to wear the mask as often as I can, just because I don't want to like weaken my immune system by like
Yeah.
shielding myself from all of these other like daily viruses. And
Yep.
he's like, I wash my hands, but I'm not like crazy about it, because you don't want to like weaken your immune system.
Yep.
Because then if you do come in contact with the virus, I mean, you're more likely to get very sick from it.
Yeah, dude, those, and so like on the lines of that, so like I used to like get allergy shots, like immunity to allergens that I like would get sinus infections all the time, and just like my allergies were just like irritating me a lot.
Yeah.
And I did it. I quit while I came to UMD, and then like like had some reactions. I was like, frick, man, I better get back on these things. And then I quit after I graduated. I'm like, frick this, dude. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you don't want to go and you got to sit there for a half hour, make sure you don't have a freaking reaction.
Uh-huh.
And I started running. And, dude, since I've been running, like,
Nothing.
my allergies are like a fifth of as bad as they were. Like, they hardly affect me. Like,
Oh, yeah.
certainly now, like, I take like a nasal spray, you know, and just kind of some preventative maintenance, but like,
Yeah.
I'm hardly bothered by it anymore. And it was like, I mean, it was like significant. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like, I mean, going along the lines of you gotta like be introduced to these things. Otherwise, I mean, it's just like you can't expect to be building up your body if you're not weightlifting. Your weights, by looking at them, aren't gonna help
right.
you get bigger.
Yeah.
You know, just like
Yeah.
same concept. Your immunity isn't gonna build up. if
Yeah.
you're being in a bubble.
It's just such a weird balance.
Yeah.
And I go back and forth. I have no idea.
I also do like the chiropractic for the way that Kyle Severson puts it with the
Yeah.
energy system.
Uh-huh.
Dude, I totally feel that.
Yeah.
Like when like something's out of alignment, I totally feel like my energy is out of place and like I need to go back in and get adjusted. So I feel like stuff like that is
Yeah, and I see
you know,
Kyle like
preventative.
probably once every couple of weeks. He wasn't
Yeah.
the guy that said the thing about the mask. It was a different chiropractor dude that I know. But I go see Kyle like once every couple of weeks. But it's
Yeah.
usually because I like wiped out on my bike or my snowboard. And I'm like,
Yeah,
Kyle, I
it
can't
does-
straighten my head.
it does help in the physical aspect of things, but
yeah,
I do.
no, it does loosens things.
I do
things up
think
a
it
little bit.
keeps the flow of your energy and like kind of like what I was trying to say earlier with like your overall body. Like if your body's trying to repair itself from something other than, you know, like your natural causes of like a virus and rebuilding your body of, you know, what the stresses you put on it, and it's constantly fighting a war with like heart disease or obesity or something, you're constantly in that state of repair, and how the hell are you gonna
Yeah.
figure out anything else to prevent something else for it, you know?
Right. Casey, what would you do
If I was president,
if you, maybe not even president?
Yeah,
but you,
just
you could
like
say
if you
president,
were
but
up to the task.
you were like,
of-
they're like, Casey, you are the guy who was in charge of stopping this.
yeah.
no comment. I don't want to get shit on by anyone. I would never
You
wanna
think
be
we're
in
gonna
that
get shit
position.
on?
No, I don't think any. Well,
Like,
some
no
people
matter
obviously
what you
do.
You're gonna piss one person.
For sure.
One side
One
off.
side is
Yeah.
getting pissed off. Yeah, that is, jeez, that's tough. I don't know what to do.
How would you put like a so how do you put like a positive spin on some of these things? Like I try and like think of like how you would like market to people to like be taking their oxygen and like
Yeah.
doing the thermometer. You know, like they have like the mask. Like it's basically like just do it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
they basically like Nike'd everybody and was just like, just do this.
I don't know. Yeah, it's tough because you don't want the government to like mandate too much because then it's like, well, you can't. We still need to be, I mean, free. I mean, we're America, but also if I think honestly it would be more effective if every person was able to test themselves every day than
Yeah.
if we had a virus or if we had a vaccine or whatever right
Yeah.
now. If everyone could test themselves every single day and then one day you test yourself like, oh snap, I got it. All right, I'm gonna, I guess, stay home for a couple of weeks because I think it actually, even when we do come out with a vaccine, I think it's gonna be really difficult to get everybody to take it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, could you imagine like 330 million people, like everybody just go to your nearest Walgreens, get your vaccine. I guarantee half the country's gonna be like, what? I ain't taking that crap. I ain't scared of the virus. So I think if you could like,
Yeah.
I think testing is actually more important. So
Yeah.
that you know if you have it, just stay home until the test says you don't have it.
Yeah.
And then go out. And then eventually it'll probably be gone. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, obviously. I have no idea what I'm talking about. That just seems like
Yeah.
maybe that would be the best way.
Yeah.
Do you think that seems fair, Casey?
Yeah, testing.
Yeah. And then if you don't have it, like you don't need to wear a mask because you don't
Have you
have.
gu-
Well, then I guess you could still. I don't know.
Have you guys got tested yet before?
Mm-mm.
I did when I got back from Colorado.
Was it the nose thing? Did they have to touch your brain?
Yeah, and I thought it was gonna hurt. I was like so scared 'cause I don't like that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I went to the nurse. I was like, just please be gentle. Like, I was
Just
not-
look her in the eyes.
I
It's
was-
like
and
this.
she was gentle.
This
and
is
it
my
didn't-
first time.
It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt at all.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah.
So did you get it done? Where'd you get it done at?
The drive-in place at Miller Hill. Like if you drive in and they just like do it from their.
Oh,
your car.
weird.
Mhm.
How much did it cost?
Didn't get the bill yet.
Oh, really? How long did it take for you to hear back whether or not you had it?
It was literally like less than 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I
Well, actually,
kinda
I got
want
it Monday after work, and then got the call on Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
So less than 2 days.
Huh.
Mhm.
Interesting.
I've heard like places that do it's like 5 days.
Well,
in
that's
some
I
places.
think it's because it's like they're getting faster now because there's less people getting tested and stuff like that.
yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Like before, there was like so many people getting tested.
Yeah. Everybody thought they had it. I know. I even like there would be times I was like, why am I breathing so hard? I was like, I think I got it. I think I got COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like we were saying, I think we were saying talking before. Like I wish I could like take a mental photo of me like at a stoplight, like looking around, seeing people in the cars next to me wearing masks, seeing people walking around, bus drivers going by wearing masks, everyone
With the
wearing
sign,
masks.
mask
Yeah.
required.
Yeah, exactly. And then just take that photo with no context and send it to Gage in January, so I could be like, what happened? Like, what is going on? Why is
Hopefully,
that?
we'll be back to normal by January.
Well, no,
but-
send it back to send it back to
right.
January 2020, so that I can look at it and be like, what happens in
Yeah.
6 months? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's really interesting. I was listening to some of our old podcasts the other day, and it was actually really interesting, like hearing like what was going on because we talked about politics a little bit and like hearing what was going on politically with different things.
And like
and
nothing
then
big was going on.
no, well there was. I remember in one episode I said I was talking about Joe Biden, and this was before he was like the Democratic candidate or whatever, and I was like,
Yeah.
Joe Biden says that he's not supporting marijuana. I was like, big mistake. Because like he's never gonna make it as a Democratic candidate now. I was literally like saying that, and everyone's like, yeah, you're probably right. I was like, yeah, I mean Democrats, I mean they want to legalize marijuana, and Joe Biden came out as saying that he doesn't support it, and then now obviously, boom, he's the Democratic candidate. So it was just like interesting to hear that, and yeah, it made me nervous when I heard myself. When I heard myself bring up Joe Biden, I was like, oh God, don't you say anything weird. Don't you do it. Otherwise people are going to go back, watch an episode, and I'm going to end up in trouble or something.
Yeah, do you ever think about that stuff? Like
Yeah.
something you did, like way back, and like be like if you're wherever you
Yeah,
like
whatever
want to
you're-
be in
yeah,
some
maybe
like,
applying for a new
having-
job or
yeah,
whatever.
no, so it's like last question. Why was your opinion on this? in
Yeah, we looked at your
2000
Facebook from
October
your senior year of
2000?
high school. That's it. Yeah, no, that's scary because things change, like what's acceptable to say or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Like it changes every quarter of the year, it feels like. So like I had like on Time Hop, I had something come up like a year ago on my Time Hop that I said in like 2012, and I immediately went to my Facebook, found it, and deleted it. I was like, oh my God. I was like, what was wrong with me? I was
What
like,
was I
I cannot believe that I won't even repeat what it was that I said because it's like I could not disagree with myself more now, and I was like, what a lunatic.
Thank
Jeez.
God for timeout. It saved you.
It literally did, yeah, because I mean,
that could be some dirt. Like,
that would for sure have been dirt. That was cancel material, big
Dang.
time. Yeah. It's weird.
Oh,
Have you seen that,
God.
like, since anything that you've posted in the
Um,
past where you're like, what?
I would just say like it would be, yeah. I guess it'd be like more like things that like yeah. I guess I was like into. You know, like when you look at like what you were like. I think it's more of like material things. Like why did I like Hollister when I was a kid? Like why wasn't like a plain t-shirt from like like a plain Hanes t-shirt like
Oh, right.
enough for me? You know what I mean? Like why did I have to have this like
Yeah.
$80 sweatshirt or whatever?
exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just like
It is
like
weird.
this. How happy did that make me for like the first 2 washes of it, and then it got to be a regular sweatshirt, and I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
appreciate it anymore. You know?
It was such a big deal though, like in not elementary school, maybe junior high or even like high school when you would get like a new T-shirt. Like sometimes you were so proud of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like you would get a new T-shirt, like I can't freaking wait to wear that. I'm like, this girl is gonna think I'm so hot in my new T-shirt.
But yeah, I think it's more that stuff, or like, how could I not like see
Yeah.
the other side of that? Like I like now with like my whole diet approach, like I would be like, what am I
Looking
doing?
back at the
Like
things you were eating,
like
or-
eating tofu or eating like
Oh.
garbanzo beans on my salad, like as my protein source.
Yeah.
So I seasoned them with Italian seasoning and garlic
Oh,
powder.
yuck.
So I had a pizza salad.
Spaghetti garbanzo beans. Yeah.
But yeah, that and the other thing I look back on, this is probably the biggest thing, is when I did cross country my junior year of high school,
Okay.
and I was like, I was a lifter, so I was like, I'm not a runner, but I'm doing this so I want to be good at lacrosse, and you want me to run 3 miles? 3 miles? Like,
Yeah.
now I'm like, oh, yeah, just going out for like a 5-mile run. Like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I've ran a marathon. Like, I just remember like my first like 15-mile run in White Bear. I was like this was last year.
That's a
and
long
I-
run.
Yeah, and I was like running along like all these places that like I was as a kid, and I was like, I could never like. Even if I like told myself back then I was gonna do this, like I wouldn't even be able to imagine like what that actually like meant.
Yeah.
Like of running that far and like going that far around, and like it's just interesting because you like have this like huge opening up of like thoughts. I'm just
I know,
like,
that's what I was gonna
what
ask. Is
will
how
I
do you keep
do?
yourself like mentally occupied while running that much?
Dude, I think it's
I
actually
get so bored.
I think it's actually the keeping yourself mentally free. That's the feeling that I like. Like I
Yeah.
try not to like think about anything.
You just think about nothing. You're just running.
Just
You're like Forrest Gump.
foot in front of the other. Like how do I have my breathing and footstep and muscle contraction
Yeah.
in the best place to keep me efficient and just going?
I sometimes try to be a runner, but I get bored first of all, and also I had knee surgery, so I've
Yeah,
got screws
that's
in my
tough.
knee, so that is tough. But I also get side aches really easily, which I never
Yeah.
it never happens to me mountain biking or doing any other kind of cardio. But running, I hit like after I hit 1 mile, like immediately I'm like, oh, like so
Yeah.
like what do I do to not get side aches?
That one comes down to your warm up. You got to get your heart rate up before, and then that way your breathing is in.
So I need to start
like
slower,
faster place.
or-
Yes. Yep. Start slower.
So I usually just start going as fast as I can.
Exactly.
So that's why I get
what so what your heart looks like is you come out your door running and you're up skyrocket, and then your heart is like, okay, we're running, so we're gonna drop down, and then you like finish your mile, and then you're like, we're gonna jump back up because we're getting tired and burned out now.
Yeah.
So what you want is your warm up is gonna come up, and then you're gonna steady off into your pace. So that
Okay.
you're not bouncing your heart rate up and down like I'm
Yeah.
going super fast. Oh, I'm burned out.
That's what I would do. I would run.
Yep. Well, everybody
like almost
does
as
though.
fast as I can, and then I get a side ache, and then I'm walking, and
I think
and I'm
every-
embarrassed, so then I'm like, all right, we gotta start up again, and then immediately I'm like, oh god, it hurts. So
I
bad.
think everybody does because it's just like running is a natural thing that a human does,
and you feel so
you
good
should-
when you first start.
Yeah, and
You're
you
like, "God, I
shouldn't
can run so
like
fast."
have to think about it, but really in smart programming, like you need to think about that. You need to get your heart rate up. You need to bring yourself down appropriately too, because you don't want to end a run high, because
Yeah.
you go in and you stop and you're like lightheaded and like, whoa.
Oh, yeah,
You
that happened
know?
too.
So which can be bad ways just to for your heart to like, you know, like go, you know, to recover from the session is kind of how I look at it.
Okay.
So I always like doing like some squats, lunges.
Before you run.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And then obviously like your first mile, you kind of want a little bit slower.
Slow jog.
It all depends on how long you're running. Obviously, if it's
Yeah.
a short run and you want to do fast, you're gonna just warm up a little bit longer and get your heart rate up high, and then
Take
start
off.
into your run. You
Yeah.
know? But if it's a long run, like sometimes I'll be honest, I do start with a run, but I run like a 10 to 11 minute mile pace, and I make sure
Yeah.
my heart rate's like climbing from like
At an
100,
appropriate rate.
120, stay
Yeah.
there, and doesn't like go above that 120, because the second I jump too far ahead and get into like the 150s, that's when my heart starts to be like, yep, we're like figuring ourselves out here, dude, and we're not gonna be steady.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you know, and it's hard to do with hills, I'll be honest, but usually it's run slower, and that
Yeah.
helps you build your aerobic base, because I look at it as your like, you know, low heart rate in that 120 to 140 is like gear one. And that's like your slow pace that you can maintain pretty comfortably. I mean, you probably feel like you're kind of crawling to some degree, or jogging. And
Yeah.
then, you know, when you get above that 140 to like say like even 160, even though that's kind of getting high, you're cruising at a pretty good run. And then anything above that 160, you're probably starting to go fast and hit some
Yeah.
limits. And that's when you have very little, you know, energy. So what you want to do is you want to build that bottom level one to be efficient for a long period of time. And then as that builds, it'll become like your warm up, you know, mileage for that. So your heart will get better at that, you know, what you
Yeah.
were running at 140 to 160 is
Okay.
now going to be 130 ideally. It's kind of
Yeah.
just like what I was talking about earlier in this with my like the, you know, 14 to 16-year-old kids I've been training, like how 75 pounds was like, holy cow, that's like warm up weight, and now 95 is
Yeah.
like, dude, we're warming up at 95, you know.
Nice.
It's a very similar to that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just takes the body a while to adapt. Biking is a little bit different, I
Yeah.
would say.
I do. I mean, I usually need to start off relatively slow, though. I guess I do that actually. So
Have you ever hit a hill right away?
sometimes I live in Lakeside, and there's one trail that I'll take. In order to get up there, I have to climb up Glenwood. I don't know if you know.
Yep.
So
That's a long climb.
Yeah, yeah. I've done it enough times now where it's a tough climb, but I
See,
mean,
and
I
once
can
you
get
do it
up
too,
pretty good.
then your heart rate actually gets better at that on a bike, is what I found.
Yeah.
So like I live up in Woodland, and so I'm at the top. So I kind of go down, but then I come up fairly fast, and then I'm
Yep.
going down and up a lot, and my heart rate will just be like, pooh, like it'll just
Yeah.
be like, whoa, dude, 5 minutes into this bike ride, you're going up a hill that high, like, dog, like,
Yeah.
easy.
Easy. I love it. Oh, Casey, we've been going for a while.
We are at 112.
112.
12 minutes.
Let me check my notes. I got to see if there's anything. Okay. So we'll do one more quick topic. What are
Okay.
you most excited for after the pandemic? All of this is done.
Yeah.
Pandemic's done. Quarantine's done.
Yep.
What are you most excited for?
Besides like masks and like people's anxiety, and you know, including yourself, anxious about like going into a store and being like, what am I gonna run into? Is somebody gonna be coughing? Like, you know what I mean? Or if I have to sneeze, what am I gonna do? Like,
Yep.
I'm most excited for racing again, because
Oh,
I
nice.
want to do an Ironman, and that's kind of, I think, pretty much like with this whole like quarantine thing, I've been like, okay, we're gonna just like, we're not gonna go small into this next like training event. We're just gonna go all in.
All in,
And
yeah.
so yeah, I'm most excited for just bringing it back and being like, you know, we had some obstacles, but I'm gonna just blow this wall that we had apart and make it like a small thing. Cause
Yeah.
you know, I feel like, you know, we're gonna look back on this like 10 years from now and be like, I mean, I'm sure there'll be other things happening, and it'll be like,
Yeah.
well, that was probably good that I lived through that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to look at it that way.
Right.
And that's kind of like my thing is I'm like, you know what, like, do it big. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's good.
How about you?
That's a good answer. I think I'm most excited to just not go into the grocery store and everybody's wearing a mask, so I can't, you can't see their smile, you can't see their facial
Yeah.
expressions, you can't see. It's tough to tell like what people are thinking, and then there's also like if somebody's by the asparagus and I want to come in and get some jalapenos
Yeah.
and they're right next to each other, I have to like wait until they're done so that I can go in, so that I don't feel like I'm like attacking them with me standing next to them. I want to go back to like humans like bumping into each
Yeah.
other and not being
Yeah.
worried about
And
murdering
not being
each
like-
other. Like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. It's 6 feet. Like, I just want things to be. I want things to be normal.
Yeah.
I wanna hug people. I wanna
Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree with that, dude. I used
just like
to
human interaction. I want to be I've never wanted to be in a crowd surrounded by 10,000 people more than I do right now. Like, I used to be kind of a germ freak before this started, and now I feel like I want germs. Like, I want
Yeah.
to just be in a dog pile of smelly people. I don't want that actually, but I don't know why. It's just I'm like craving it.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel the grocery store the most. So like, I used to like enjoy that. Now it's kind of like a source of anxiety because like, God, I had to do this thing, and it's like a whole event of like
Yeah.
protection and
Right.
things, systems.
Yep.
Can't go down this aisle. You
I
know?
don't listen to those stupid
I know.
arrows on the
Dude,
thing.
okay,
I want
so
somebody to call me
What
out.
I heard from somebody is she will go past and back up so you're facing the arrow way there.
That's insane.
Now it only works. Now it doesn't work very well if you got to go down the whole end of the aisle,
The
right? You're not
entire
gonna
thing.
be backing
Then
up
you
the
li-
whole thing.
that would
but,
be
like,
so funny.
There's been a couple of times where I like needed something on the edge, and I'm like
So you'll back in a little bit.
backing up. Dude,
Nice.
I'm going in. At least you're facing the right way, so you don't get the stink eye.
I love going in the
But-
wrong direction.
Yeah, I go in the wrong direction all the
I want
time,
somebody to
like-
call me out. I'd be like, kick me out. Kick me out then.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I think before we wrap it up, I want to like do a little recap so like people don't have to like decipher like what was he saying at the beginning about
Oh, yeah,
what I
for
should
sure.
do. So I would say like to backtrack with your question of like what's the best thing to do? You're walking or some form of cardio because
Yeah.
you're gonna help with
Something.
the weight loss. It's relatively easy where you don't have to think about and have other equipments like weights or what to do or
Body
how much
movement.
to do, body weight. Yep. And then yeah, you don't have to modify it as much. And then you can also have varieties of it with different like type of terrain. What you should be doing is sand, trail, pavement, getting a variety of things because the sand and the trail are non-impact or a little less than
Right.
the pavement. And then as far as like the nutrition goes, the biggest things I think is like obviously like your variety of foods. Now you have preferences. Everybody has different preferences, so it's kind of hard to say exactly what you should get in your diet, but a good variety is usually a lot of like leafy green vegetables because they have a big variety of your micronutrients, and so that'd be like your minerals, and then vitamins as well. Obviously, you want some sort of like citrus fruits or vegetables like peppers and tomatoes and things like for vitamin C. And then obviously like a variety of other vegetables like roots and other things like mushroom, carrot type things for other sources of vitamins in there. So getting a variety of those things, fish sources for your omegas,
That's your
and yep,
Casey.
right. And then in that case, you got to get your plant sources like the hemp hearts, the flax seeds, things
Bark.
like that. Tofu, baby.
Yeah. Cows who have given their life for other cows.
And honestly, just a variety of your meats and probably limiting on your sugars, especially fatty meats like ground beef. Also like your white or non-whole grain starches that can count as white rice too, because some of those things are high blood sugar spike, which is going to kind of leave you more inflamed than it would like a whole grain. So you're trying to minimize your inflammation of your body so that your body can focus on its immune system essentially.
Got it.
And then if you aren't getting those varieties because you're a very picky person, that's where you add in your supplementation. So vitamins, fish oils, things
Yeah.
like that, especially if you can't have either the food preference or the food like economical side of things to be able to afford those types of things.
Yeah.
Then your supplementation is going to probably be the more bang for your buck in those cases. But I would say, in summary, those are like the main things to focus on. You can take them as far as you want up the chain of, herbs and other types of things like, and exercise too. Like, I mean, we talked about chiropractic. I mean, you got all sorts of different preventative measures, we'll say, that you can utilize, but just do what's your preference. Start low and then go up into your more intense variations of things.
I love it.
Is that a good summary?
That's a fantastic summary. I'm actually really glad that you did that. I think that I really hope I have no idea how many people are going to watch this. We haven't put a podcast out in so long, but I hope that a lot of people watch it, and I hope that some people get some value from the things that you've said and the nutritional stuff, the fitness stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's inspiring to hear because you don't have to I didn't say you have to do any of it, just do something, you know what I mean? I think that's kind of our call to action on this one with some fun in it.
Exactly. I love it. So I mean, we usually do a high five. Can we not a high five? Let's do an air five.
Air five.
Nice.
Wait, you gotta do it a little lower. It was,
Oh, okay, sorry.
yeah. That was like a mime.
Was it? Was it a good effect?
Opposite magnet.
I love it. I love it. Thanks for coming on, Blake.
Yeah,
That was a
dude,
ton of
thanks for
fun.
having me.
Getting me back into the swing of things.